Chapter 24 of Ant Ventures. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit librivox.org. Read by Louise Jeschke. Ant Ventures by Blanche Elizabeth Wade. Chapter 24. The Ant Venture of an Embroidered Motto. Good luck followed Anthony Ant all the remainder of the way home. It even seemed not to be following him, but waiting for him ahead at every turn. His feet did not get blistered and sore. His lunch basket once more had been slyly filled at the Wild Rose Tea House, but this time by the good-natured keeper himself, who packed it with enough nourishing things to last the ant for the final part of the journey. A good floating bit of stick was already waiting for him at the edge of the brook, and soon floated gently to a small stone, and from that to a branch that hung out from the home side of the shore. Then he had no trouble finding the old trail to Ant Hill Manor, and when he passed the angleworm's doorway, he saw no sign of her. Now, since Anthony Ant had learned a few lessons by the way, he thought all at once about the nice old fubbly gentleman bumblebee's good kind trick. He decided, for fun, to play a nice good trick on Mrs. Angleworm. He took one of the prettiest of the cakes from the Wild Rose Tea House and then rapped at the doorway. Out she soon came. "Mercy gracious!" she cried. "Here's that horrid book agent again." She turned back to get her broom, but Anthony Ant bowed politely and said, "Oh, do wait just a minute. I am not an agent for anything, and here is something free of charge to prove it." He held out the cake, and when she saw that, she did not know what to say. She took the cake, as he insisted, and she said she was sorry. You see, she had caught sight of the motto in his hat. Don't get angry at nothing at all, and don't get angry at anything. Besides, she saw the other motto, don't be afraid of work. Even if the ant was an agent, it was his work, maybe, and of course he must not be afraid of it. She wished him good luck if he ever did sell books, anyway. That was the very day, and still morning, when Anthony Ant stole up to the highest ground above Ant Hill Manor and peeked down at it. What a happy lump came into his throat! What a dear place it was! Ah, there they were, all busy at work. And there was the tool house with the door wide open, as it was until time to put back the wheelbarrows at night, though it should have been closed each time to keep out any dampness. He knew that when it was left open like this, his little sister Antonia was the one to blame. She always forgot to close that tool house door. He knew what he would do. He would steal down behind it and crawl around it to the open door. When they did not see him, he would get out his own little wheelbarrow. He could see it near the door, and, without letting them see him first, he would work till they found him out. He had no trouble carrying out this plan. He had been working for an hour before one of them stopped to look up at all, and then suddenly discovered him. "Why, here's Anthony back again!" cried the discoverer. Then, I can tell you, they crowded about him. They dragged him inside to Mother Ant. Then they all had a surprise. Nothing surprises mothers much, as you may find out some day. Long before, she had had all kinds of wireless messages. Don't ask how, for I don't know exactly, except that they are always inside mothers somehow. So there was a fine party waiting for them all in a thicket near Ant Hill Manor. To this thicket she led the way. There, whether you believe it or not, the noon meal was spread. At the head of the table, ready to carve, was none other than Dr. Alexander Beetlebug. Were there other invited guests? Well, I should say there were. And there they sat. Even the angleworm was there, and the jumpy, monstrous spider that had become gentle, and the fussy, fuzzy caterpillar, and the ladybug, the small spider, size 2, the mole of Molesworth Hall, the august croaker, the robin, the squirrel, the flicker, who promised not to touch an ant today, the grasshopper, the firefly, the woodchuck, and all the creatures that were kept from the rain in the hollow log inn, the nice old fubbly gentleman bumblebee, the yellow bird, and the dragonfly. Oh, what a time they had! Anthony Ant sat at the end of the table with his mother. Everyone laughed and talked at once and had the best time you can imagine. Not everyone is rewarded for doing the right thing as Anthony Ant was. That is, not by receiving presents and being praised and all that sort of thing. But Anthony Ant knew inside his bones that it was reward enough just to come back to his good little wheelbarrow again. He had had all the change he wanted. The celebration had to last until after dusk for a special reason. That reason was that the night insects could come with their surprise. They had read the wireless messages. Wishing to add something of their own to the joy, they stole into that thicket until, unseen by the company, they had surrounded the merrymakers, and at a signal from all the fireflies they could muster so late in the season, they suddenly tuned up to the joy of everyone. You never heard such a serenade in all your life, I am sure. In the midst of the enjoyment, the ladybug handed Anthony Ant something in a large paper. He looked inside, and there was the motto she had promised, all framed. It was embroidered in a new stitch that looked as your mouth looks when you smile, a curve with points turning up. "I could not embroider the motto in cross stitch," said she. "I preferred to make it pleasant stitch instead." And so to this day in Ant Hill Manor there hangs, nicely framed and most delicately embroidered in pleasant stitch, this motto: "Never think of the goodbye part of a pleasure until the goodbye part comes." That is one reason why I am not going to say a word about the goodbye part of this party. I should much rather have you sit and chuckle at the way Dr. Alexander Beetlebug is digging the nice old fubbly gentleman bumblebee in the ribs, instead of feeling his pulse, while they both giggle and buzzle over old jokes they knew when they were but young beetlebuglet and bumblebeelet. And I should much rather have you listen to the music of those joyous insects with their flutes, violins, zippers and zingers, and zoomers and bassoons, and drummerinos, and all the funny instruments only night insects know how to play. If you look and listen until it all soaks right into your mind, you will know how wonderful was that very most greatest piece of Anthony Ant. End of chapter 24. End of Ant Ventures by Blanche Elizabeth Wade.